Are you connecting all the dots on the journey to your inner wisdom? Are you looking for a fresh perspective on the messages you've been asking for?
So who doesn't want to be happier, healthier, wealthier, and wiser, and be able to make life's choices with confidence because they finally see the signs? We know you do.
I'm Angela Coulter.
And I'm Sarah Sieg Avignoni.
We're two conscious journeyers dedicated to turning over those rocks and helping you on your personal intuitive sleuthing mission of evolution in our multi-dimensional hologram.
And that includes Earth too.
Yes, it does. Welcome to Solving Me, our conscious puzzle-solving podcast, where we look at the natural relation between your life experiences and their meaning in the bigger picture, from the most mundane to the most overwhelming.
So what do we mean by all this? Well, have you ever thought that getting a flat tire and twisting your ankle could be related? And maybe a message about what's preventing you from getting that awesome, high-paying job you would love. Believe it or not, it's all connected.
Want to know more? Come on and let's get sleuthing. See what comes up in this episode, because it might just be about you. Welcome to episode 21. Today we're going to talk about a very luscious, very saturated kind of topic. So we're going to have to keep it down to 20 minutes today.
Absolutely. Well, and we're going to have to make sure that we don't go down any rabbit holes with this one.
Yes. And what that is about dreams, because, there are courses galore on just dream analysis and dream interpretation.
And dream directing.
And dream directing, right? Lucid dreaming and stuff like that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So we want to just give a brief homage to the dream as a message, because there's a couple of reasons why dreams are very important messages for us, or bring very important messages for us. Number one is when we're sleeping, we have a lot of our ego filters shut down.
Sleeping.
Yes. So we're in a much clearer state in other forms of our consciousness. So things come through a lot more clearly, even if it comes through in a metaphorical respect.
Yeah, disjointed.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. It's in my mind, it's a truer connection to problem solving and information gathering. I find it such a productive time. And I've found for myself that when I'm under stress and dealing with a lot of things during the day, I spend more time in dream state than in restorative sleep state, because I'm so focused on that problem solving aspect that dreams provide me.
Mm-hmm. Right. And so one of the things, and this might be a little different of an episode than in a lot of the other ones that we talked about, because there's a lot of ways to go about this, to looking at what the messages are in dreams. And so number one is, yes, there are books and books and books upon what dreams, up on
right.
Yeah, what dreams mean and what different things and what symbols in dreams mean. And we want to say to you, everybody is individual, as everything else that we talk about. Like, we can say this thing can mean this, but the thing is to always ask yourself, is this what this means to me? And feel into it.
Absolutely. It is so personal. And I want to say more personal than anything else, but it's really not. I think it's simply because people tend to say, well, I had this dream. What do you think? Versus, oh, I have ants in my bathroom. What do you think?
Exactly. Exactly. Because a lot of times people will say, I don't get it. So many times I will have a dream and wake up and I have such messages in my dreams, such clear messages. And some people will say, I don't dream, but you do.
You do. Absolutely. Or you'd be dead if you didn't.
Right. Or you wouldn't. You just don't remember them, and you can train yourself how to remember them. So that's a course and practice in itself for a different day. But so I have over the years, because I've always had very, very clear, lucid dreams, very what's the word I'm looking for? Very saturated dreams, very, very distinct and clear in many cases around and different times. I've had over the years premonitory dreams, right?
Right.
I've had visits from others who've passed over,
Yes. Yes.
visits from other life forms.
Right. Right.
And I have had such clarity, and I've done traveling myself. I know that, but I've also gotten such clarity on some things. And I know there's a story you talk about on on solving problems in your sleep.
Absolutely. And, back when I used to be a systems engineer and programmed, and I would, just before I go to sleep, I'd think about what I needed to solve, even if it was something simple about writing a memo. And I would go to sleep and I would wake up and I would have the verbiage. I would know exactly what I needed to say, what order things went in. And it worked for me. It was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you can direct your dreams. And what they say is in like the last 10 minutes before you go to sleep, if you have a very clear intention of what it is you would like an answer to, or what you would like to figure out, to focus on that and seeing yourself, knowing that when you wake up and remembering that when you wake up, and then you use the whole dream time as your blackboard, so to speak.
It's it's thinking out of the box. It's
Mm-hmm.
taking away all these limitations that we normally aren't even aware that we're imposing on our problem solving.
Mm-hmm.
And
Exactly.
it opens up so many different um, opportunities for problem solving.
Yes. Yes. So,
And a lot of that's unintentional too. If you have something that's weighing on you and you don't realize it, and you find that you dream night after night after night, and those frustration dreams where you're back in high school, you don't remember your locker combination, and you have a test in a class you've never been to,
yep.
that's something to look at.
We've all had them.
Right. Or you have no clothes, or you can't tie your
Yeah.
shoe, or you
Yeah.
can't get your cell phone to work.
Well, and a lot of times, are you trying to reach somebody
Yes.
and you can't because the phone stops working or somebody interrupts you, or like I've had so many dreams like that. And part
Yes.
of that then typically is some blockage I'm giving myself from that's preventing a connection that's important to be made. And so there's a lot of things. Yeah, so there are a lot of times very literal, more literal than we even create in this reality.
Yes,
In
absolutely.
dreams, sometimes it's very literal, and then we wake up going, "What was that about?" But then when you like write it in a journal or talk about it, it's like, "Oh,
Uh,
I see."
duh.
Yeah. So it's very different than a lot of the other things we talk about, because it's actually an entire like media of messaging that we give
Yes.
ourselves.
Right. Yes, it absolutely is. And a lot of times when we're stressed, or we're, when you've got a new baby or a new puppy, or you're starting a new job, or you've just moved, or you're traveling and you don't sleep, and it's cumulative, and
Mm-hmm.
you're denying yourself that messaging to yourself,
Yes.
and it really, it starts to take a toll on you, and it's one of those things where it's like, I need to make that a priority. I need to nourish myself in this way so that I can then get these messages, so I can have that exchange at night.
Yeah. So let's do some examples, because there's so many examples. I mean, there's no like, and people ask me, how do you know the difference? Like, how do you know the difference if you're, sometimes I remember other lifetimes in dreams.
Oh, right.
And it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. But people ask me all the time, like, how can you discern the difference? Like, how do you know that you're having a visit from somebody who's passed over and it's not just a dream, right? And I'm like, well, how is this whole reality not just a dream?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
But I'm like, well, I know because of my personal observation and experiences over the years, I know the difference of the quality and how the dream, like comes to me and how it feels more than anything is the feeling.
Right.
Um, but at the end of the day, none of that matters because it's also a message to you here and now. So if it's somebody who, all right, everything, if the way we look at things is, if you've looked at our free download of the Solving Me book, that we ebook that
Yes.
we have on our website, we talk about how we get here and how everything is oneness, and that we see everything as a reflection of ourselves. It doesn't matter what, that's the message of all of these episodes, which is, it doesn't matter what it is, it's still a message back to ourself, right? Having is evidence of wanting. So why do I
Absolutely.
have that in my reality? Is because I'm telling myself something, I'm reminding myself something to see in a specific perspective. So it doesn't even matter whether you've astral projected or you were lucid dreaming. I mean, lucid dreaming has a message in itself because it reminds us that we create our reality.
Yes. Yes.
If you direct your dreams, you can direct your reality, kind of thing, and it's just a different dimension of consciousness. And so when we talk about things like, well, was it a past life, or how do you know it was a star being, or how do you know it was a dead person? It's like, does it even matter? Because it was important for me to get the message in the way that I received it, because I might not have gotten that message, or I might not have remembered it had I not had the distinct dream of my passed away grandmother visiting me to give me a message that had very much to do with her energy. Does it matter whether it was really
Absolutely.
or not? No.
Right. It versus a billboard on the side of the highway.
Yeah.
I think you're going to pay attention to the dream.
Yeah. Very personal, like you're saying. It's in a way, it's like more personal than most of the other things because it comes in from inside of us.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So the thing is, when you have something that comes in a dream, okay, so let's take away the need to categorize the dream,
Right.
or whatever the experience was. When you say to yourself, how did I feel by what happened in the dream? By
Yes.
seeing this person, by being this person, by, sometimes, we have dreams where we're the opposite gender, or,
Mm-hmm.
we have dreams about being in love with somebody that we would never even consider in daylight, right?
Right.
And then we wake up and like, what the heck was that about, right? But the thing is not to judge any of it. The thing is to step back
Right.
and say, well, what did that mean in that context? Like, what did that dream feel like to me when I was in
Right.
it?
How did I feel? How did I respond?
Mm-hmm.
What new information did I learn from this? Did I respond in a way that surprised me? Well, that's learning something. That's definitely something to look at. Or did it make me sad, and that surprises me?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I know I've had dreams and I've woken up just sobbing and cannot figure out why. It's like,
Right.
oh, clearly something here took me by surprise, and I need to look at that.
Because otherwise I wouldn't have let that come up to the surface in my waking time, right? So I did when I
Absolutely.
was sleeping. So what was that feeling?
Yes.
Yes.
I did it where I was safe.
Yes. Yep. And so those are the things that are important for our dreaming. And it doesn't matter how much sense it makes to anybody else. It only matters as to how it feels to us that we created, so going back to the example of my grandmother, because I did have her in a dream last night. Um, when she comes to me in a dream and she says, Angela Francis, right? Because that was what she would say when I was a kid, if I was in trouble with something, or I wasn't listening, or she was getting my attention, right? So when
Right.
I hear that in my dream, that flips the switch that says, oh, pay attention, because what she says next is important for me to know or remember. And
That's
so
awesome.
whether that's truly her or not. I mean, it is, and it's not because it's me too, right? It's all, it is energy.
Right, right. It's you creating and communicating in a pathway that you're familiar with.
Yes. And so when she does that, so then I wake up and here's the thing. I didn't remember that dream until like midday. And I was talking to my husband at lunch and I said, something sparked memory. And all of a sudden I go, yeah. So I remember this morning saying to him, I had some weird dreams last night, but I don't remember what they were. And then at lunchtime, I was like, wait a minute. I remember talking to my grandmother last night. And I remember the Angela Francis, like, get it together. Get it together.
Awesome.
And then it came back to me. And sometimes that's what we do in our dreams. We are bringing things to the surface that we're not looking at otherwise, right? And it's a very gentle way because it's not a car accident. It's not a sickness. It's not an injury. It's a dream,
Yes.
right? Where we wake up from and we're like, oh, okay, I'm back here, right? Now, of course, there are sometimes we have a dream where we're so happy there. And then we wake up here and we go, no, I want to go back.
Right, right, right. Well, I know that I needed to locate a large sum of money.
Oh, right. I remember
Very important. And I went to bed and realized that I had a 401k that I had totally forgotten about and that I could take the money from that. And I woke up the next morning, it was like, well, thank you, me.
Yes. Yes, because all the chatter from your day to
Right.
day had quieted down in that sleep state to say, we have the answer because we
Right.
do.
And all the emotions and all the angst and the how am I ever going to do this all were silenced.
Yes.
And I was left with just how am I going to, what ways could I solve this problem? And bam, it was awesome.
Yes. So many of us discount dreaming and its importance in our full consciousness. It's not just going to sleep. It is a huge, like I said, a huge media center of messaging for ourselves. And it's a matter of recognizing how to utilize it as that message center instead of just saying, oh, that was funny, writing it off and moving on. Right.
Yes. Yes. I mean, and not to put too fine a point on it, but we say that we sleep and waste this many hours a day, and it's like, well, maybe you don't leverage that for let's refine these messages so that I can be more purposeful in my waking time by understanding and getting clear guidance and pointed direction into what gets me closer to those goals that I've set for myself.
Yes. Yes. Which is why I tell people, and it's funny because whenever you say journal about this, you sort of feel like that internal rolling of the eyes happening.
Right. Absolutely.
But because of the fact of its different state of our consciousness, we flip back and forth. So we do tend to forget. And so journaling helps to anchor in the memory of that message.
Yes.
And
yes,
sometimes
absolutely.
I find sometimes when I wake up, I'll be like, I don't get what that was about. Like I'll remember bits and pieces and I'll go and start journaling like what I remember. And then more starts to come back. And then all of a sudden it'll all click together and I'll go, oh, look at what that was saying. I've had such really incredibly deep messages that were like mind shattering kind of thing that I would have never gotten otherwise. So it's a huge tool for us.
It is. It is. And it's one of those resources in that we can mine and pick out those jewels and precious metals and put that to work for happier, healthier, wealthier, and
wiser.
I'm just saying.
Just saying. Yeah. So start paying attention if you haven't. And if you are, just see if you can see it differently and stop trying to analyze as much as like listen or feel into it.
Exactly.
And ask, what is this showing me?
Yeah. Relate to it in not such a 3D way.
Yes.
Because you created it outside of the 3D.
Yeah. Yeah. Or you have allowed it either way. Right.
Right.
So go have fun with that.
Absolutely.
A lot more to talk about. Like I said, we've had there are many courses out there on dreams themselves, but this is just really a redirect to say, look at these this way and give it a shot, because you know what? This might be one of the easiest ways for you to even get the messages you've been looking for.
Yeah. And we look forward to your feedback on this.
Yes, absolutely.
Because that's where this really gets fun.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for listening to us on Solving Me. If you found this podcast helpful, make sure to subscribe so you get notice every time we post a new episode.
And for a short time, we have a special bonus for you. Go to solvingme.net to download your free ebook, which outlines the next level of conscious solutions for your inner investigation.
Be sure to help us spread the word. Share us with others you know who want to solve the puzzles of their everyday life through the filter of expanded consciousness and have fun doing it.
One more thing. Do you have some puzzling life circumstances where you feel blocked and you'd like our take on what's going on? Send us your conscious puzzle at connect@solvingme.net, and maybe you'll be the topic of a future episode.
Until next time, happy sleuthing.